Hello, hello, and welcome back to Mocha Says. Today we're going to be reviewing Married to Medicine reunion. I'm a little late on this, but I'm getting caught up this week. And we will be just in time for the new season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. So let's get into this and see what I have to say. So the Married to Medicine reunion, part one, it starts out there, of course, arriving to the venue. Um, I'm not feeling Brandy's outfit. I think her name is Brandy's outfit. When she walks, she is like dressed. She has this big shoulder pads on, this bold red outfit. I mean, I'm just not feeling the outfit. But anyways, they all get there and they're getting their makeup and hair done. And there's all this talk backstage about how Simone and Jackie are not sharing a dressing room this year and how that's going to be a big topic. It's just a big thing that they're talking about. All the ladies are talking about in their different separate dressing rooms. And I think Heavenly needs to sort of make sure she has her wig tacked down before she lets the cameras come and record her, because that was uncalled for. But do you think, girl? Excuse me. I have to say, I think that Simone is a very beautiful person, but when they to to the stage and were sitting down on the couch, yeah, I wasn't feeling her look, like just her reunion look, especially for the first half, the first episode of the reunion, part one. Simone is very beautiful, but I feel like her hair, her makeup, and her dress just wasn't complimenting her. But that is that. But I have to say, I think that their setup, the stage, the lighting, the red, it looked so beautiful. The stage was so bright. Whatever the equipment they used to film, it was so clear. I mean, it was really a gorgeous setup. So they're starting everyone gets on stage and they start the show. And the first scene that they show, or I guess they're calling it a package now, is Toya's package. And they're showing Eugene and her and the problems that they had and them arguing, and it was very cringy. And I thought it was funny. They showed on the bus, they were talking about how they were talking about the Met Gala, and Jackie's like, yeah, we chose Toya to do this because we thought she would be a great person to lead it. And then here comes Heavenly with her big mouth. She goes, no, that's not true. We chose her because we wanted to teach her a lesson. And I'm just like, Heavenly can't keep her mouth closed for anything. She can't hold a secret for nothing. I just don't understand, but it's fine. So I thought that was just so funny, that little clip that they showed. So after they show the clip, Andy starts with his questions, and he asks Toy, he says, I think the question that everyone wants to know is, are you still living in the same house? And everyone's like, oh no, that is shady as hell. And Toy was taken aback. She didn't like that question. She was taken aback by it, but she was like, why would I not be in the same house? And he goes, well, you've moved a couple of times, it's a legitimate question, which it is. But yeah, she's still in the same house, and that's nice. So Andy asks everybody if they think that this is Toya's forever home. And Heavenly's being shady, and she's like, no, I think she said something about her moving, maybe getting another like condo or something and moving into it herself or something, sort of insinuating that she's going to move by herself and her and Eugene aren't going to be together. I can't remember verbatim what she said, but it was very shady. And so they're talking about sort of like relationships, and they talk about Curtis and Jackie, and because they're talking about Toya's relationship. They've been really going in on Toya and Eugene. I guess somewhat with reason, a little bit. She sort of opened that up, I feel like, with how she goes in on Eugene publicly. I mean, this show is about drama. It's about reading people. People are going to like dig for dirt on you and throw it in your face. So she sort of opened that up. And I sort of feel like it's low-key fair game. So yeah, they're talking, and so yeah, I feel like they're talking about that, and I feel like Toya, I have to give it to her because she's been taking accountability. I feel like she's been taking accountability on these podcasts she's done. I feel like she's been taking accountability on Watch What Happens Live. She took accountability on the reunion. So, I really like that about Toya, that she's taking accountability. Kudos to her. Oh yes, they talk about the text that Heavenly sent Toya when she was sort of talking about her purse. She needs to pick up her purse or something like that. And she goes in and talks about her man's privates are big. And I sort of am like getting tired of that being brought up. But again, I have to say they're talking about this because of that one episode where they were going around saying was something that you were surprised to know about marriage that you wish you would have known before you got married. And she said that your husband's penis doesn't get any bigger. It's pretty much insinuating that her husband's penis was small. And why would you say that in front of people? Clearly, you're talking about your husband's privates and talking about how small they are or insinuating such. So, when you're around these women, especially someone like Dr. Heavenly, they're going to take that and go in on it. So I didn't like that she said that about Eugene when she said it in the back when they first aired that episode. But I am sort of getting tired of like it being brought up again. But I just wanted to call out that Toya is the reason why that keeps being brought up, because you talked about your husband's penis in a very indirect way, but we know what you were saying, and that's like crazy that you would say that about your husband. It's actually a bit violating and humiliating. So yeah. And so Toya brings out, all the confusion, the lady saying she wasn't keeping them in the loop. And um, Toya, they gave her a doctor's jacket, a white coat. And on that coat, she got printed the texts that were in the group chat 24 to 48 hours before the Met Gala, saying she said she was overwhelmed. And yeah, she was just showing how they were just going in on her, just so many questions, and it was just too much to take. So, I mean, I don't know. I thought that was sort of not necessary, but hey. So moving along, they go to Quad's package and talk about, of course, her fertility issues and how her relationship, she's not with King anymore, but they talk about their relationship. Well, Andy asks if the fertility issues and her relationship with Quad was all for like a storyline. That's what someone had asked on Threads or so. And she says no. And Andy is agreeing with that because fertility issues and everything, that's a big thing. And you would be crazy to even go through all these things just for a storyline. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what I believe. Some of it may have been a storyline. Some of it may not have been a storyline. I don't know. I'm not sure what I think about their relationship. I know what I think about King, but yeah. And so Simone asked Quad, she's like, why were you trying so hard to have a baby with King if you couldn't even agree on where to live? And that makes sense. That's a very good question. Like, why are you trying to have a baby with this man? And you guys aren't even like, you're having these problems. You're not even married. You don't even like, can't even agree on what house to live in. But Quad says that, he is a great father because he already has a child. And yeah, he's a great person. So she thought, having a kid with him, he would be a reliable man to have a kid with. And that makes sense. I understand her perspective. So moving along, they bring Brandy and Angel out. And I have to say, Angel has a pretty impressive background. I guess she was in movies. She's been in a lot of music videos. She's a mother of multiple children. And she's a nurse, a registered nurse, and she has her own like scrubs clothing line. I think she's very impressive. I think she's doing a lot of things. And I like Angel's personality. She seems like a fun young lady, and she is very beautiful. For the most part, I enjoyed her being on the show, and I would like to see her again. Oh, and then they talk about Brandy. So they talk about Brandy's dinner and how they're saying Contessa tried to talk down on her birthday dinner. But I have to say, I think Contessa is totally fine in that situation, and I think that she was totally justified because the women were talking down on Contessa's birthday party. They were talking down on Contessa's birthday party first. And so at this birthday dinner, that she went to when after they were talking down on her birthday party, saying her husband didn't plan it at all, blah, blah, blah. And then I think it's fair game for a contestant to be like, look, you're literally just at a birthday dinner. At a birthday dinner, and whatever else she said, like I don't think that contestant did anything wrong. I think that she was justified in doing that because they were going in on her first. And so yeah, I have to say I don't think Brandy's makeup was on point. It was a no for me. And then they talk about Angel and this numbing spray that she put in her throat to satisfy or pleasure her significant other at the time. Girl, I don't know what Angel was thinking, but anyway. All right, girl. All right. So next they have Mimi's package, and they're talking about pretty much her relationship, her family, and her son, and then also how she tends to psychoanalyze within the group. And so she pretty much says that's just her nature and she doesn't like drama. But I mean, you're on a show about drama, and she sort of gets into the drama pretty well. So I don't know. I'm not really buying that. I don't know. You say you don't like drama, but you're on a show about drama, and you sort of do drama pretty well, I have to say, especially at the reunion. Her and her husband were doing very well in the drama, and they seemed very comfortable with it, actually. Yeah, she's talking about how the challenges of being a mother of a special needs child or child that's highly disabled. And, the women tell her she's being a good mom, and it's very sweet. So backstage, they're already like sort of have a little back and forth between Eugene and Steve about these tickets that Steve and Mimi should have just bought. They should have just bought them. So anyways, they're talking about that a little bit behind stage. And then the men come out and the women go backstage. And they're talking about Steve and Mimi having to buy tickets and how Steve felt like it was an attack, and he's like, oh, like it's not making sense. Steve's reasoning for not buying tickets. Steve and Mimi's reasoning is not making sense, and Eugene is pretty much making sense because just buy a ticket if you want to go. Like, I don't understand what the confusion is, but I feel like Steve knows he's losing this argument, and so he resorts to ad hominem attacks, and he's talking to Eugene, talking about he wants to be a woman. And so this is actually all going on behind stage. So behind stage, they're having this little back and forth while the women are up. And then they move on to Heavenly's package, and they're talking about her campaign, and they're talking about her son's arrest. And she says that her son was having mental health issues. That's something that people didn't know. And yeah, they talk about how Damon didn't tell her about her son. And the ladies, they all, and even Andy, they all have like pretty much positive energy when it comes to Dr. Heavenly and her running for her campaign for a seat in Congress. And so I mean, that was good. They were all pretty supportive, except for Toya. She was very loudly not supportive. And I don't even know if all the ladies believe that she would be a good seat, but they're all being supportive anyway. Or even that she will realistically win, but they're all being supportive anyway. And then they talk about how Heavenly was saying that Dr. Simone was attacking her. She pushed her, she hit her hand away. And when I look at that playback, when I looked at that scene, I thought it was very reasonable for Dr. Simone to move Dr. Heavenly's arm off of her shoulder when they were about to take a picture. Because if you don't want someone touching you, you have the right to remove their hands from touching you. And I don't feel like she did it in a crazy aggressive way. She did not. And so I'm glad they brought this up, and the way they're talking about it is I'm liking it, because when that happened and Heavenly, when I was watching the show and Heavenly was talking about how she was attacked and threatened, and Dr. Simone was being very aggressive towards her, I thought I thought this is like some very dramatic, sneaky white woman stuff. Karen behavior, if you will, because she was not a threat to her. She was not aggressive. She was upset and she moved her arm off of her, but she has the right to move your arm off of her. She doesn't want you touching her. So yeah, so they talk about that, and Dr. Simone says never ever in her life has another black woman said that she was acting in that way. That's like she was aggressive and a threat to her. And I'm so glad she said that because Dr. Heavenly, what are you talking about? And so Dr. Jackie goes over to the other couch, the opposite couch, with Dr. Simone, and they're talking. And Dr. Simone has tears in her eyes, and she's like, "You need to take a side. You need to pick a side." She says, "Did you have to? You can't straddle the fence. You either say I pushed her or I didn't. I was a threat or I wasn't." She says, "I can't move forward. Don't want to. Can't do it." I don't know why I love when she said that, but yeah. So Dr. Jackie finally, she picks a side and she says, "No, you did not push Dr. Heavenly and you were not a threat to her at all." And they make up and that's that. And Dr. Heavenly is in the background just like saying little petty stuff, little comments here and there. But they make up and that's a good thing. I guess they're on the track to make up and then they end that episode. And then we go into part 2, which I will upload that in a separate video. But thank you for listening today. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this reunion. Do you think Quad was sort of like manufacturing a storyline with her fertility issues and the IVF and with King? And what do you think about Dr. Heavenly and the Simone and Jackie situation? Let me know. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, like, comment, subscribe, please. And I'll see you in the next video for Married to Medicine Reunion Part 2. Bye.